Hello everyone, I am Param. I scored full marks in science 2 years ago in 2023, and in this video I am going to be telling you the strategy to score full marks in science. We will be covering how to cover the NCERT, what books to refer to, and if you need reference books or not, and especially the best strategy ever created on YouTube from question to question to question. We will be covering all the types of the questions, so let's start. Basically, first of all, as we discussed in the second part and third part of this video, NCERT is the most important thing. This is day 5, and if you have not watched the previous parts, please go ahead first. Now, NCERT is the most important thing because your paper is going to be designed from the NCERT. Any reference book that claims 80% of the paper or 90% of the paper will be from this book. NCERT से ही 100% of the paper आता है. So NCERT is your Bible. How to read the NCERT? First of all, sit and be fully focused on the NCERT. Underline anything that you feel it is important, and it can be the whole book as well. Yes, there are a lot of pages of NCERT in which every single thing is important and every single statement can be asked as a question, whether as assertion region or true or false or anything. And so you need to identify which things are the most important to underline. Got it? There are 3 layers present in the NCERT. First layer is surface level problems. So surface level problems include the paragraph के अंदर के statements, the statements inside paragraphs. Like simply a 3-pointer can be formed from one paragraph. So that is the surface level 1 type of layer. Level 2 includes the keyword wale boxes and summary wale boxes and do you know this wale box. These boxes are used the most for MCQs, and so this is layer 2. Now what is layer 3? Layer 3 is someone no one talks about. These are the activities. You must have seen that in the activities of NCERT, in the last part there are 3-4 questions which are unanswered. No one has ever answered them, and not even teachers answer them in class. They just skip the activity throughout. And so this is the level 3, because your case based or 4-marker questions or MCQs are formed from these activities के last 3-4 questions. And that is also the reason why you find case based studies hard, because they apply real life concepts. Activities apply real life concepts, therefore they both are interlinked. Your 4-marker questions are mostly these activity related. So if you do not have the answers to a particular question in an activity, you can search it on Google or you can ask your teacher for them, because most of the time teachers know but they do not teach it. Either Google them or ask the teacher, and then make notes of all the 3 layers so that your NCERT can be complete. Completing the NCERT doesn't mean you don't have to open it anymore. Once your exam is coming, 1 week before the exam, just read every single chapter from the NCERT again. You do not need to वापस make notes. You don't need to make notes again, or underline stuff again. Just read it again, and underlined stuff you have to read once or twice. That's it. Now, how to make notes of these 3 layers? So there's a particular technique I found to make notes which made me score 100 marks, and I'm going to tell you about that. Basically, if you have a reference book, and if you don't, you can buy any. If you do not want to buy, that's also okay. You can get some toppers notes from online. Even I have uploaded my notes. You can go for them as well. You can find them on my channel. Anyway, so keep your toppers notes or reference book here, and keep your NCERT here. The notebook in which you are making notes, keep it here. So basically you have 3 notebooks on your table, right? The first thing you need to do is chapter at a glance. Every single reference book has the chapter, and the first thing in that chapter is chapter at a glance. So you need to read this chapter at a glance. Okay, topic by topic. First read the heading. Okay, let's start with heredity. So heredity का first topic आता है, and so when you see that heading of first topic, you need to find that in the NCERT and then note down every single important thing you can find in the NCERT. What this strategy does is it automatically segregates your non-important points from important points, because they are already mentioned in the chapter at a glance. Secondly, you get the NCERT bookish language inside your notebook and not the reference book language, which is your marking scheme of the paper. If you have ever checked the marking scheme of NCERT or CBSE papers, it always contains only keywords and ditto same words as the NCERT. Now, how do I make notes? Like, what do I write particularly? Only write the keywords of a particular question. You do not need to write the whole answer. You do not even need to write the question. If you want, you can. But always try to include the keywords so that you can actually frame your answers mostly, right? You just need the keywords so that you can get full marks, like I did. So, from the NCERT, if you think there's 5 lines important in a particular answer, then those 5 lines must have like 7-8 keywords that you need to write. For transportation of blood, It can be pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery, and aorta, and stuff like this. This is the stuff you need to mostly write in your notes, and not the particular in the pulmonary artery we do this. You don't need to do this. Speaking of keywords, you need to underline these keywords in your answers as well whenever you're giving the board paper, because these are the things that examiners see and they just stick the answer without even reading it. I exploited this, but I will talk about this in my next video rather than this one. And in that video, we'll be covering science answer writing from 0 to advanced and exploiting the examiner psychology. Anyway, diagrams. Diagrams are very, very important because diagrams are a very big cheat code to actually scoring marks. If you do not know the answer to a particular question, you can still draw a rough diagram of what you remember about that question. Like if you do not know how to write vegetative propagation, if you even draw the diagram now, the teacher thinks you do know this answer and they tick randomly, because diagrams make your paper look aesthetically pleasing and they make your paper look neat. Therefore, the examiner thinks, okay, he's drawing diagrams as well. He also knows the theory. So he doesn't even read the theory. He just sees the diagram, okay, tick. And that is the big benefit of diagrams. If you cannot learn a diagram, just take a photo of it and stick it onto your wall. Every single day, whenever you're bored, just try drawing it. And dhire dhire, with time, you will learn it eventually. So now we have covered our NCERT, and this guarantees your 90, 91, 92 marks easily, completing the NCERT and completing how to make the notes. Now, once you have made the notes of a chapter, you need to leave spaces like 3, 4, 5 pages after that chapter and then start the next one. Now let's come on to why. So I'll be dividing your paper into 5 parts: 1 markers, 2 markers, 3 markers, 4 markers, 5 markers, where 3 and 5 are big answers, 2 is a medium answer, 1 are MCQs, and 4 are case-based questions, like your paper pattern. Even if 5 can be considered as 4 as well, but we will talk about that, right? So first, the MCQs. What are the MCQs in science? MCQs are of 3 types: direct application, something hidden, or something ulta-pulta. I'll talk about this. First of all, direct application questions, in which the formula or the theory can literally be seen from the question and you can literally easily take it. Second is hidden. Hidden means it is from the layer 2 or layer 3 of our NCERT, like hidden inside the NCERT book somewhere. That is why you need to read it line by line, and very important. Third is kuch gadbad hai, means mostly all the options look correct, but there is something very subtle in the question that if you miss, you will take the wrong answer. So you have to pay extra attention to them. So to complete the application based MCQs, you need to do the exemplar MCQs for all the chapters. NCERT Exemplar is a book made by NCERT itself to extend the question practice from NCERT to NCERT Exemplar. And for the hidden questions and random gadbad wale questions, you need to do CFPQ. Just search on Google, competency focused practice questions. In the last video, I also talked about this. I'll be talking about it again. This is a book specifically made for application based questions, case based questions, and competency based or real life application based questions. So these will complete your MCQs, CFPQ MCQs and exemplar MCQs. Now some people are asking me, CFPQ के 4 volumes exist करते हैं, so which one we should do? Just think with the brain, man. If you have the 2022 NCERT, 2023 NCERT, 2024 NCERT, which one would you pick? Obviously 2024, right? So pick the latest volume, simple as that. Now let's move on to our 2 markers. Mostly the 2 markers in our paper are of one type only. They are asking of 2 things which are interlinked to each other, like state this and also provide its application. So you need to solve these 2 things separately, but somehow find a connection between them. If you actually make a connection between them, right, there is a chance that examiner will overlook your second answer and just focus on the first and just stick your answer. If you integrate them or to make the answer look smooth, then examiner will just look at first part of the question and take your answer without even looking at the second part of the question. And that is what happened with me. I actually got 1 2 marker wrong. I got one part of a 2 marker wrong, but I got the second part right, and the examiner read the second part and ticked the question, and that's why I got 100, even though I would have gotten 99. I exploited his psychology. He just read, okay, second part is correct, first part bhi correct hoga, tick. And to practice these 2 markers, you can do it from 2 sources, again, exemplar and CFPQ. CFPQs contain the application based questions, and exemplar contains the direct questions which will be repeated on your paper for sure. So complete the NCERT exemplar and complete the CFPQ for both the chapters and all the chapters in fact. If you do not have the time or you're watching this video in January or February, then only complete the NCERT exemplars MCQs and 2 markers, complete the whole CFPQ, and we are coming on to PYQs. So now we have covered 1 markers and 2 markers. Now let's come on to 4 markers first. 4 markers are basically case-based study questions in which you are given a real-life example and you have to relate your theory to the real-life example. As we discussed, the layer 3 of activities confirms that almost all of your case-based studies can be done easily. But if there is some question that is not even available in the activities as well, just do the CFPQ and you will be good to go. Although case-based studies can be done mostly if you have just read the NCERT very well, but do the CFPQ and do the activities layer 3 pretty well and you will be set for case-based study questions. Now let's come to the 3 and 5 markers. Basically, so for the answers, you need to have 3 things in your answer. First is the definition or explaining what the question is asking. Basically, if the question is about how something applies to something else, then first explain both the things. Give the definition of both the things involved in the question. That accounts for 1 mark itself, and it is actually a bonus. If the examiner reads this, he can take your question without even looking at it further. We'll talk about this in the next video, of course. Then first, definitions. Second, the application or what the question is actually asking. And third, conclusion. You can separate these as points because points is something that examiners love. So first, introduction or definition, then the main problem, whatever it is, and the conclusion statement. That's how you need to write 3 and 5 marker answers. But where to practice them very well? PYQs. We have talked about this in the maths video as well. Basically, as your NCERT contains the same concepts and same things for multiple years, the paper will contain the same questions as well, and therefore PYQs become very important. I did PYQs from 2010 to 2022 when I was giving the exam. I am telling you do it from 2011 or 2012, but if you're watching this in January or February, then do it from 2015, 2016. And definitely do the 3 and 5 markers. If you have time, you can do the MCQs and 2 markers as well. They will benefit you a lot. However, if you do not have the time, you're watching this in January, February, again, only do the 3 and 5 markers because they have the highest chance of repeating. Now, once you have done all these questions from exemplar, CFPQ and PYQs, we left some 5-6 page gap in our notes, right? So write whatever you found new in these questions into your copy. It doesn't matter if it's out of syllabus. Of course, if the chapter is out of syllabus, just ignore it. But if the question is of a chapter that is in syllabus, then write that question and that answer as well. Because there's a chance you can apply these concepts to a question which is actually in your syllabus, and it will make the things 1,000 times easier. And you need to complete your MCQs in reading time itself if possible. Just visualize the MCQs and try to solve every single one of them in the reading time. Now, how do we attempt the PYQs actually? So if you have a reference book, refer to the PYQs inside it. If you don't, you can always look up the papers on Byju's or whatever site you want. You can have easily a bundle of papers in your desk or on PDFs, right? Once you have them, you need to follow the 8:1 rule. This is something I created so that I could save my time during boards. What I used to do was I skimmed through 8 papers so that I can find new questions that I haven't already seen. And for the one paper after those 8, I timed myself for 3 hours and gave it for a normal time, right? What you need to do is skim through 8 papers to find anything new or something you cannot do and write it in your copy, and then attempt the next 9th paper as an actual paper, as a mock, as a sample paper, so that you can score well. This is day 5, and in tomorrow's video we'll be covering this 1/2 other part of science, which is answer writing, and it will actually ensure you full marks like it ensured me.